Hello, my name is David Eberl, and I am here to talk about the Mexican War and its impacts on American society. The Mexican War is an interesting war, not only of when the war happened, but how the war plays out in the bigger picture of America. After Texas declared itself independent from Mexico and won its independence in 1836, Texas was recognized by Britain, France, and the United States as an independent nation. However, a few years later, in 1845, there was a border dispute between Texas and Mexico on which river separated the two. Mexico declared it was Nueces River, while Texas argued it was the Rio Grande River. President Polk declared that the Rio Grande River was the border between the two nations, sparking outrage by the Mexican government, and conflict soon arose. Conflict could have been avoided, however, due to the instability of the Mexican government and the general consent of the people that giving in to the Americans was not honorable, would not negotiate with President Polk or the American Congress. President Polk sent 3,500 troops to the territory in between the rivers. I believe this enraged the Mexicans even more because even though this was a Texas-Mexico dispute, Polk decided to intervene anyways. Had the troops stayed north of the Nueces River, fighting may not have broken out and fighting could have been prevented altogether. In April of 1846, 2,000 Mexican cavalry entered the disputed area and attacked a small detachment of Americans, killing several, and ultimately led to a declaration of war by President Polk a month later. Since this was a time before the telegraph machine, it took a lot longer to get messages back northeast to the capital. Between 1846 and 1847, the Mexican army suffered defeat after defeat, unable to win a decisive battle due to the fact that the Mexican army just didn't have the strength or fortitude to fight. Many Mexican soldiers abandoned their post and went back home to their families because of little loyalty they had towards their generals that looked down upon them. Without a full army to fight with, Mexico had little chance of winning any battle. So why was the Mexican War so important? It had two critical points to fighting it. The first was that the idealism of manifest destiny. The idea that territory should belong to Americans to expand to the West Coast was on the minds of many Southern Democrats and some of the Whig Party as well. Having such an opportunity to obtain not only Texas, but much of northern Mexico of the time was very alluring, especially California, which by the end of the war, gold had been discovered and launched the California Gold Rush. The second point of fighting was to show that the world that the United States can fight for itself. Not only did the Navy keep the Mexican Navy contained, the Navy kept out reinforcements for Mexico as well. It also stopped troop movement and gave American soldiers cover when they attacked on the coastlines. It showed Britain and France that the United States was not going to be bullied around, especially with both America and Britain wanting the Northwest Territory and ultimately ended up splitting it in half. This was truly the first time that America could show off its strength to the world and decisively win over the Mexican forces, gaining land and promoting the military while pushing Manifest Destiny along. Unfortunately, the Mexican War is cited as one of the reasons the Civil War that breaks out a little more than a decade later. With the expansion of slavery, the North and the Whig Party would not stand for it until a compromise was made, and a compromise was made in 1850, but ultimately it proved futile in the end. So the Civil War, having cited the Mexican War as one of the causes for the Civil War, is definitely an alarming, but I believe that the Mexican War had more good to it than bad facts to it, because it not only it allowed American forces to show the world what they're made of, it increased the size of America, and it opened up new grounds for farmland, for slavery, for gold mining, for iron mining, and allowed America to become a more powerful country. Now, is the Mexican War a small factoid in many textbooks in America? Yes, it is, because it is not that known. But it should be stated that this war helped set the stage for really the next century of America. So, these are my sources. Use them wisely. Thank you.